So what makes me cranky about Doom? How about the fact that they couldn't call it Doom 4 and prevent a whole lot of confusion for all of us? Seriously, am I the only one who's getting sick of new sequels and reboots having the same name as the original? It's just confusing for everyone. Is it really going to hurt your search engine optimization that much to put a subtitle or a number on it so that we all are clear on what we're talking about when we start talking about your new game or sequel? It's even worse when it's a sequel or reboot I'd rather not remember exists, like the Star Trek reboot, or the incoming train wreck that is the all-female Ghostbusters reboot. Couldn't we just call it Star Trek 90210 and Ghostbusters The Feminist Generation so everyone is totally clear on what it is and we never have to think about it ever again if we don't want to? So you know what, screw it, I'm just going to call this Doom 4 so everybody's on the same page. So what is it that makes me cranky about Doom 4? How about unskippable cutscenes? Didn't we learn anything from Kingdom Hearts?
Sora! Forget it. There's no way you're taking Kyrie's heart!
It's amazing that after all these years I still remember that almost verbatim because of how many freaking times I had to watch that cutscene because of getting ganked by Riku in that battle. It's the same thing for Doom 4. I don't want to listen to Samuel Hayden talk every time I play through the level, and every time I have to load from a checkpoint, or every time I'm trying to go back and find a secret that I missed. It's irritating. There's no reason that I shouldn't be able to just hit escape and go off and do whatever I want to do. Sure, the first time it's fine if you want to force me to watch the cutscene. I'm okay with that. I might even actually miss it in a game like this where you're moving around really fast and hitting buttons all the time. But after the first time, I don't need to see it again. I understand what the plot of the game is. You're not giving me any information. It's not even that interesting. So let me just get on with the game, please. And that's compounded by something else that makes me cranky about Doom. Points of no return. It's irritating enough in games where you actually control when you save, but it's even more frustrating in a game like this, which has an autosave. You walk through a door, it saves on you, you kill a bunch of monsters, it saves on you again, and then suddenly you realize you can't actually go back through that door because for whatever reason it still thinks there's a monster threat, even though you've killed every freaking monster in the place. It didn't care so much when I walked through the door and there was an army of monsters on the other side, but now that I've slaughtered them all, now I can't go back through this door that I just went through a second ago. Which means that I gotta play the whole level all over again just so I can get that one secret that I didn't notice while I was playing through the level. It's really irritating and it just doesn't need to be that way. But aside from that, I actually really enjoy Doom 4. It's got a great old school feel that reminds me of all the games I grew up playing as a kid, you know, Wolfenstein and the original Doom and Quake and all of that stuff. I love the fact that it's fast-paced combat. I love the fact that I can carry like 15 weapons, all that have different fire modes. It's a nice change of pace from modern first-person shooters where you move at the speed of walk and can only carry a couple of weapons and a grenade. This game even has the grenades, but I don't ever really feel compelled to use them except for the occasional challenge that they're required for. Maybe they're more useful in the harder difficulties that I haven't tried yet because I'm old and therefore not as good at video games as I used to be, so sue me. But I'm glad that they kept the extra difficulty levels, including one apparently they haven't beaten, because so many games today range from easy to press this button and we'll show you the next part of the movie you're watching. I like having that extra little bit of replay value, and of course I'm one of those people who enjoys a bit of a challenge, so it works out for me. One of the things they added to make it easier to roll with the difficulty is the glory kill system, which originally I thought was going to be kind of stupid, but when you actually start doing it in the middle of battle, it becomes a whole lot more fun than it looks. Especially when combined with the Berserk mode, because I don't care who you are, the first time you pull a Kano on a demon and rip their heart out through their chest, you're gonna giggle like a little girl. Or at least I did. But basically the way it works is, when you rip off a demon's arm and beat him to death with it, or you pull out your chainsaw and saw one of their heads off, it'll drop health and ammo respectively, which can keep you alive and shooting when you're in the midst of a horde of demons that you really can't avoid taking hits from, especially those asshole imps that like to shoot you in the ass. The only complaint I have about that, though, is it can be a little finicky about which glory kill it's going to give you depending on where you're standing, which is a pain in the ass when you're doing some of the challenges that require you to do a very specific one. Sometimes it'll give it to you, and sometimes it'll just give you some other random thing that you don't want, which is especially irritating when you're in the middle of a bunch of demons and you're just trying to pick one or two of them off so that you can get the requisite 5 or 10 or 25, however many it is. I do wish that the chainsaw wasn't so much of a glory kill thing that requires gasoline, though. I just kind of want to carve things up, but I guess it fits with the system, so I can't really complain about that too much. The challenges are nice, too. It gives you something to do when you're in the middle of the map as opposed to just slaughtering demons indiscriminately the whole time. Another thing I enjoy very much is looking for the secrets. I like the fact that you can upgrade your suit to show where a bunch of them are on the map, because it saves people like me, who don't have 40 hours a week to play video games anymore, a little bit of time and effort, because you don't have to wander indiscriminately throughout the map looking for something, especially with how so much of it kind of blends in together, because there are a lot of similar colors. There are so many times I would be staring right at one of the levers that opens the secret Doom levels and not actually see it because it just looks like part of the background. So having something that gives me at least a little idea of where I should be looking is very helpful. It's pretty sweet that they included a classic Doom level in every single one of the Doom 4 levels. That was probably my favorite part about hunting for secrets, was finding those. It just gave me a great nostalgia trip every time. And maybe it is just nostalgia, but it's funny because I actually kind of preferred the old sort of sprite look to the modern CGI look of everything in Doom 4. And it's not that the game looks ugly or anything, it's just that sometimes I miss those old sprites. Another thing Doom 4 brings back that I miss is a very simple and straightforward upgrade system. I'm happy that I don't have to unlock every little sight and tweak and tinker to my weapons, and that there are a million freaking things so that you can't decide, well, what should I unlock now, because everything costs a little bit, but if you want to unlock it all, it'll take forever. I especially can't stand when they put things behind the unlock system that should be standard equipment, like flares on jets, because they basically want you to grind more and or pay them some money, and I just can't stand that. Doom 4 does not do that. You basically have 2 unlocks for each weapon, that are sort of the secondary fire mode, and you can switch between them at will, which is cool. And then you have challenges that you can do to further upgrade them, and that's good for me because I enjoy doing the challenges. It just adds a little spice to the gameplay, gives me something to think about other than just murdering every demon I see. Because other than that, there's not really that much to think about in Doom 4. The story is pretty straightforward, although it is fun to find out all the little bits of lore that are scattered throughout the maps. I did enjoy reading all of that stuff. Basically, I'm here to close a portal to hell and kill demons, and that's pretty standard Doom stuff. It seems like it's kind of implied that you're the original Doom Marine, but at the same time, the timescales don't seem to work out, so I'm not sure if that was just a clever bit of writing or an intentional setup. I know it has a multiplayer system, but I didn't waste my time with it because I tried it out in the beta and it was just terrible. If I had, that probably would have been the first thing that I said made me cranky about Doom, because it's just really disappointing. It's kind of like a half-assed Unreal Tournament, and it just isn't that much fun. Especially because some of the weapons are just so overpowered. I mean, you get that super shotgun out and you're gonna just lay waste to people. Overall, though, Doom 4 looks great, it runs great, and as I said before, it has a delightful old-school feel that really kept me entertained for about the dozen or so hours that it took me to finish the campaign. So even though, like everything else, it does make me cranky, it's mostly because I couldn't keep playing it and had to go back to work. So if you do like FPSs, especially the old-school variety, go ahead and pick up a copy of Doom 4. But what about you guys? Have you played Doom 4? If you have, leave a comment below, and I'll be happy to check that out. You know what makes me cranky about YouTube videos? When people feel like they have to tell you to like, subscribe, and follow them on other social media accounts. I'm pretty sure if you liked this video, you'd already be clicking on the like button. Or if you wanted to know what my channel was up to, you'd be hitting the subscribe button. Or if for some reason you wanted to see what else I had to say, you'd be looking in the description for a link to my Twitter account. All without me having to tell you anything.